Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. Well, yesterday we went ahead and started getting the straight axle back under the car with the new springs, and we were measuring up all for the brackets and everything, make sure the axle was straight. Today I was going to go ahead and make all the brackets, but I think I'm going to hold off on that because I think what I am going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the caliper bracket back on the car, on the axle, the rotor, and all. So I want to make sure I can get the wheel on back on there, make sure it's not going to hit anything. So we're going to go ahead and get that done today. So let's go ahead and get set up, see what we can do. Okay, so here we are. We're going to go ahead and put the all the brackets back on. Well, this first bracket is for what is your caliper bracket. And what you have to do is you have to drill out this bottom hole here to accept the 1/2 inch bolt. Now this side was already drilled because, well, again, we have the axle on backwards. So now we got the axle on right. Now I got to drill this one out. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. This way I'll accept the 1/2 inch bolt. So I'll go ahead and get that done and I'll bring you right back. Okay, so right here is our bottom hole that we just drilled out to a 1/2 inch. And we take our bracket. The bracket sits up there. This goes through the bottom hole like that. All right, then you have your 2 3/8 bolts. One goes up here, like that. And then there's another one that goes through here. Okay, so we got all 3 bolts in. Now the top 2 bolts I didn't put nuts and washers on yet. Here's why. Because the next thing that goes up is the bracket for the steering. And this one has just one hole in it because this one goes from this wheel to the other wheel, pretty much as a hooking east and west together. Just when you turn the pitman on, pushes on the one wheel, it turns the other, and so forth and so on. So we'll go ahead and we'll get this in, and this is pretty simple. Just comes right underneath here, and just like that. You put your nuts and washers on. And we just go ahead and tighten everything up. So I'll go ahead and get that all tightened up and I'll bring you back. We'll go ahead and put the rotor on. Okay, so now that we got this all nice and tight, and we got the steering bracket on, go ahead and get the rotor on. Well, I went ahead and cleaned it all off just in case there was any metal shavings on there or anything. So what I'm gonna do is just gonna take a little bit of wheel bearing grease, just keep it on here, just to make it all nice and smooth, so it doesn't rust. All right, so that's that. Now these rotors here are for the whole brake system. The calipers, pads, and rotors are all for a second gen Camaro. So it's like a 70 through 81 Camaro. You can use this kit uses the calipers, the rotors, and brake pads, and hoses too if you want, unless you need something longer. So, but and these I've had these for a little while. That's why these are all rusty. But that goes on there. And there's a washer. Oh, no, sorry. I lied. Get your outer bearing first. And your washer. There is a nut for this. Little castle nut. And I just realized it is not here. Oh, crud. All right. Well, we are going to have to find that. So give me just a little bit, guys. See if I can find. Oh, no, never mind. Got it right here. did that just for the YouTube excitement. I knew where it was the whole time. Let me just go ahead and just tighten it up. I don't have a cotter pin in. I'm not going to put a cotter pin in here for right now, only because this all has to come back apart anyway, so I can paint it and everything. So nice and tight, and then what I do, I get it nice and tight like that, so it won't turn anymore, and then I back it off and then just snug it. So that is not going anywhere. Although it's turning because it's not hooked together, but so that's that. So I think the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side, get that put together, and when I bring it back, we'll go ahead and hook east and west together, so this way they stay together, and then we'll go ahead and hopefully slap a wheel on here. Well, actually, might be able just to go ahead and just put the wheel on now. I just want to make sure it's not going to hit anything. So let me go ahead and grab a wheel and go ahead and get set up. Okay, so it looks like we got plenty of room between the tire and the header. Of course, when we make the left, it'll be just fine too over there. Now, the other thing I am going to do is I want to put the fender on real quick, make sure everything's all centered. Hold on. Okay, so we got the fender on, and it's still a little too far forward. I think I'm going to have to um, take the wheel off and just shift the axle back just a little bit, not much, an inch maybe at the most, I think. But it's a little too far forward for my liking. If it was an altered car, I wouldn't even worry. But we're not running an altered car, so. Well, I think we're gonna have to do is take this wheel back off and shift that front axle, excuse me, back just a little. All right, so there it is. It's centered, it's even, and we're all set to go. Next thing I got to do now is just make some brackets, and we'll be in welded in. Now the back there, if you notice, now that we actually have this where it's supposed to be, there's the steering arm, and there's the bracket. So thankfully now that steering arm does not hit anywhere near that bracket. So we'll be good to go once we get that all welded in. So next, like I said, is just going to be cleaning up the frame, tack the brackets in, and then just fully weld them. All right, guys. Well, you know what? I appreciate you hanging out with me here. We're going to try and make some more progress here in a couple of weeks. It's just been catching up now since I've had those couple of weeks off. Well, you know what? Thanks a lot for hanging out with me here at Old School's Garage. Until next time, I'm out of here. Later.